Welcome to Mr. Biz Radio, biz talk for biz owners. If you're ready to stop faking the funk and take your business onward and upward, this show is for you. And now, here's Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Mr. Biz Radio. Me, Mr. Biz Ken Wentworth. And this week, we're going to talk about something that in almost 6 years of doing this show, I cannot believe that we haven't talked through this topic, because I'm a big fan. Got turned on to, for those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret. I got turned on to that a few years ago and just absolutely loved it. Matter of fact, I watched that movie. It's on Netflix, I think, or maybe it was Amazon Prime. I can't remember, but I watch it probably once every 3 or 4 months. I'll watch it and rewatch it again. I have a daily calendar of the secret messages that every single day, it's a 365-day calendar that's rolling, that I get messages from it and affirmations and things like that. And if you're unfamiliar with it, highly recommend you go check that book out. And or, as I mentioned, the movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime, I can't remember what's on, but again, it's called The Secret. The book is by Rhonda Byrne. And I met this week's guest probably, now it's probably been 3 to 4 months ago at a summit. And she had mentioned being very familiar with The Secret, and it's a lot of it circles around what she does and how she does things. And I said, oh my gosh, I got to have you on the show because we've never talked about this before. So this week's guest is none other than Michele Blood, who is a successful, multi-talented woman. She was a rock singer in Australia, and after a near fatal car accident, she created positive affirmation songs, which not only healed her body, but also took her to worldwide success. Millions of people worldwide have downloaded her affirmation power songs. These songs cover healing, success, money, joy, confidence, and they uplift the person immediately. In addition to creating magnet to success products and seminars worldwide, her public mystical success events have been held in over 26 countries. She has co-written and created over 80 books, music CDs, audio programs, TV shows, and videos on positive thought, mind transformation, and meditation. Michele, welcome to Mr. Biz Radio.
Thank you, Mr. Biz himself, Ken. Great to be here.
Yeah, look, I've been looking forward to, as I mentioned, having you on the show, because I can't believe I've not had anyone on to talk about this, but I really haven't run across anyone who I think is deep into the subject as you are. So before we get into all that though, you've got an amazing history. Walk us through a little bit of your entrepreneurial journey.
The journey is so unique, and you would never in a million years be able to even think that something like that could happen. I was a singer in Australia professionally since I was 5. And
wow.
On TV. I eventually got a really successful band together, and we toured at one stage for 7 years nonstop, and many huge bands like the Pretenders and In Excess and stuff like that, we would tour with them. And it was great. It was a very tough life being a singer, the lead singer, songwriter, manager of the band, getting the record contacts, having to deal with managers and agents, but I loved it. It was worth for every night to get up on stage. We had thousands of people every night for years and years. And on my way home, 12-hour drive with a truck with all the musical equipment, he fell asleep at the wheel, the truck driver. And as the passenger, I went straight into all the musical equipment, because we went into a telephone pole, went into me. So I was in the hospital for months and months and months. And it was, you would think, the worst thing in the world that could happen to someone who's an entertainer, being told they may never walk again, even if they did live. And I'm here to testify that none of those things, I had many, many long operations, and I thank God for those amazing doctors. One of the operations was 17 and a half hours, and I thank them. But the thing was, I had to heal myself as well. And because I was so depressed, thinking if I can't do all my crazy stunts on the stage, cartwheels and jumping on big speaker boxes, what am I to do? And everyone's like, oh, well, you can still sing. And I'm like, yeah, but who cares? You got to have the whole package.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is how my journey began. And while I was in that hospital, I started listening to, because I couldn't even hold a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Somebody put it on and I couldn't turn it off. So frustrating. And that book, Think and Grow Rich, is all about male business American entrepreneurs in the 20s. And what had that to do with an Australian singer? Like a female, had nothing to do with it. But one chapter got me. And that one chapter was where Napoleon Hill talked about healing his little son. His infant son was born completely deaf. And he would go and do these affirmations, auto-suggestion into his little son's ear every night. You can hear perfectly, had 100% no hearing. You can hear perfectly. You grow up to be such a strong, successful, fantastic young man. And he ended up, by the time he was 4, going to a normal hearing school, 30% of his hearing, and then went on to be the most successful, his son, entrepreneur in the hearing aid industry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's how it began for me. I decided something within me believed these affirmations would heal my body. However, they didn't work for me. Do you want to know why?
Why is that?
The reason is because many people attempt affirmations and positive thinking, but if they're in a low vibration, and I was in the lowest vibration, depressed and in physical agony, well, the doubting mind shoots out that new thought before it can enter into the subconscious mind and plant a new tree of positivity, because the mind is so powerful. If it tells the body it's healed, the body will be healed. There's nothing that you cannot do without, with the mind. So as a singer-songwriter, about a month later, after going, I am healed, I know I am, I love myself, I am my friend, I don't believe this. Chum, chum, it just kept being released. I was like, I'm a singer-songwriter. You cannot get a song out of your head, a jingle out of your head. Children learn their ABCs through singing them. So I just started singing onto a little cassette player over and over. I am healed, I know I am. I love myself, I am my friend. And I would listen to it over and over again. And that was the beginning of a huge, huge change, not just in the healing of my body, but I went on, just 2 years later, I was working all over the world, sharing the stage with Bob Proctor, 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗡 Chopra, Wayne Dyer, working everywhere. It was absolutely miraculous what happened. And all the business acumen of running a rock band is extremely great experience if you're successful at it, because you can use that for anything that you're doing with your business after that. And I utilized all of those experiences that I'd had to be able to put on seminars for people. I used to put on huge seminars at the World Trade Center in Kuala Lumpur for Bob Proctor. We made many, many products and everything together. This is many moons before The Secret.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know Rhonda Byrne's entire back history. I just know a little bit of it, but it sounds like a very similar journey on how she wrote The Secret, where she was in a very dark place in her life and was really trying to figure things out and stumbled upon, some of these notes, I think from her grandmother, if I remember correctly. But we're almost up against a break here. Again, this week we're talking with Michele Blood. You can find out more at micheleblood.com. And by the way, it's 1L, Michele with 1L. And you can also go out and check out her YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel, again, Michele Blood. You can find it out there. We're going to come back after the break, give the Mr. Biz tip of the week, and we're going to continue finding out more about how Michele can help us. And then, of course, in the third segment, we're going to talk about tapping into the power of the mind. Michele's going to help us do that. All right, welcome back to the show, and it is time for the Mr. Biz tip of the week. And this week's tip is actually a quote by none other than Mr. Russell Brunson. If you're unfamiliar with him, if you're in the e-commerce world at all, you're probably familiar with him. His product, he's an entrepreneur who started the company ClickFunnels, that, they have e-commerce funnels and everything like that. So very, very, very successful guy, really interesting guy. Again, another person that's a great person to follow on social media, really positive message, very spiritual, very positive guy. But his quote that I love that I wanted to share this week as a tip is, how many people's lives can you change if you don't slow down or give up? And I actually heard him say this at a speaking engagement, and he went on to continue the comment and with more context around it to say, not just the people's lives, in your family, your own personal life, but the people who work for you, the people who are your customers, your clients, the success you can create around all those spheres. Just think about that. If you don't slow down and you don't give up, how many people's lives can you change? And I think we get so tied up in the day-to-day minutia sometimes. It's good to really pick your head up and really think of a more macro view of things. And so that is this week's tip from Mr. Russell Brunson. All right, Michele. So you've had a very unique journey, and so I guess talk to us a little bit about what you do now. So you'd mentioned Bob Proctor, rest in peace, recently passed away a few months ago, and you did some events with him and everything. I can't even imagine what it's like to be with him in person. He was a pretty magnetic personality.
Yeah, we worked together for many, many years and created so many products together and wrote books together and put on events for years and years. I ended up running his entire business from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, internationally. Got his book to be a bestseller for him and used all the marketing and different strategies I'd used to have my band be successful for Bob, to make him sort of more hip. And we loved working together because I work fast. Talk about, don't slow down. Because when you're in the creative plane of life, there's always new opportunities and new ideas, not just for writing a book or a song, but just for making the world a better place. It's just a fun, amazing place to be. And we were in such synergy together. He ended up writing many, many of the lyrics for some of my best-selling songs because he can do anything. And we'll all miss him very much, but he's always with me in every single moment of every day. But and he was my favorite person to work with. Him and his wife was even put together the name Musivation. And he loved that I could put on these events like a rock concert because I knew how to do that. And so I would have the music going and I would get musicians and dancers, and we put on some fantastic events like light shows, and because I really love to put on my events like a big rock concert. People enjoy it. They love singing along to the affirmation music. It works so fast. And back in the day, they didn't realize that this mind that we have, which I'll talk about in a little while longer, a little bit later, but running a business like a rock band is the way to do it. And I find, particularly with females, and I'm not knocking the females, I'm just saying they're more sensitive to people and they don't like to say no to people more than blokes do. But as a woman running a rock band, I could never, ever have a band member playing out of tune or being late or anything, because if one person's out of tune in a rock band, it sounds terrible, because everybody, even if you don't think you can hold a tune, people can hear when something's out of tune, and it just destroys it. So I would, sometimes they called me the 𝗟𝗘𝗥𝗡. And if I was a bloke, they would never have said that, because I would just say, look, if you're going to turn up, if you're drinking or if you're out of tune, I said, you can't be in this band. Sayonara, baby. Hasta la vista. Hasta la vista. So I ended up getting the best guys. They were absolutely amazing. What's so funny is I'm just 5 foot, tiny little thing. And the shortest guy in the band was 6'3".
So you're giving all the orders, and they're all, a head plus taller than you. Yeah.
And the road crew were all tall as well. It was so funny. I don't know why the best musicians ended up being so bloody tall. But anyway, it was really, really a great experience. And so I started talking to Bob and a couple of different people that wanted me to put on events for them. And I said, well, I only put on events if they're our own events. But they wanted to learn how to put on an event like I was doing. So I started actually teaching people how to write books, even if they can't type, all the things that I just creatively found that I could do, that I had to find a way. I didn't know how, and we didn't have Google back then. This is a long time ago. We didn't have we barely had the internet. I think I had one of the first websites ever in 1993. I put a website up, but it's just an incredible journey when you can work with people that are in synergy with you. Work with them, do whatever you can for them, prove yourself to them, and hire people that are loyal and that are willing to be part of a team. I mean, my team and I have been together. There's 3 of us main people. We've got extras along the line as we started making apps and things like that. But they've been with me for over 20 years because we love each other. We work together great. I mean, Trevor, my assistant, he's been with me for 19 years. I found him in a Blockbuster video store, and I saw he was doing a great job, and I headhunted him. And he said, yes, please save me from the Blockbuster.
And how fateful you did, because he would be out of a job otherwise.
Well, I told him that. I said, this is all going to go away. Trust me. And he said, yeah, I've got the feeling.
Yeah, interesting.
So,
And I think that's super important. I think you hit on something there that's very important, that, and I found this even when I worked in the corporate world, is that people too often focus, I think, too much when they're hiring people on just technical skill.
yes.
Of course, depending on what the job is, you have to have some technical skills. But my whole thing is, finding people who are in synergy with you. I always say hire on character, loyalty, and work ethic, because I can teach you almost anything else. Now, of course, if you need to be a brain surgeon, of course, you have to have some training and some technical skill with that. If you're going to be a rock singer, you have to, be able to carry a tune. Michelle, I have to tell you, I'm an aspiring rock singer, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
No. Hold on. So I mean that tongue in cheek, because I think that as I'm singing along to all these great songs, that I sound magnificent. But if you ask any Mrs. Biz or any of the Biz kids, it is not good at all. So.
Well, if you've heard some of the programs I did with Bob Proctor, Be Your Perfect Weight and Magnet to Money, he sings along. And it was terrible. I nearly wet my pants in the studio. It was so funny. I said, do you want me to leave that in there? He said, yeah, this will make them laugh and it'll encourage them. And I said, can you sing just a little better? And he said, no, that's the way I sing.
That's as good as it gets.
It's hysterical.
Yeah. Well, and I could see, and we're almost up against a break here, but I wanted to touch on something you mentioned earlier as well. And that the power of music. I listen to music. I always have music on all the time. When I'm working out, I have music on. When I'm in my office, if I'm not listening to something, or I don't have to really intently focus on something, as if I'm writing, sometimes I'll turn music off. But even when I'm writing, often I'll have music on. And I think even going back to my high school days, I remember at this big science test, I had to memorize this thing. I made a song out of it. And I could memorize it so much better. So the power of music is just amazing. So again, we're up against a break. Again, we're talking this week with Michele Blood. You can find out more at our website, micheleblood.com. Come back after the break, and she's going to tell us how to tap into the power of our mind. All right, welcome back to the show. And again, we've been talking this week with Michele Blood. She's going to teach us how to tap into the power of our mind to be not only more successful, but frankly, to be happy. And again, this is a lot of what you'll see in that book I mentioned, The Secret, in the movie, The Secret. And by the way, the movie, if you watch the movie, Bob Proctor, who Michelle's been talking about and was running his business, et cetera. Again, he's passed away at this point earlier this year, but he is a prominent figure in the movie. And you'll see, as Michelle and I have alluded to about Bob, what a magnetic personality he is and how energetic he is. I got to imagine, Michelle, that it would be impossible to be in a bad mood or depressed around Bob Proctor.
Well, of course, I'll tell you a funny story. Okay. We were in Kuala Lumpur and we're having a business lunch with these people that wanted us to do some events in Taiwan, and also with a couple of different airlines, because we were getting a lot of contracts to train them and bring positivity into the sales force. I worked for Nestle, lots of different people that we worked with. Anyway, and Bob got up and walked out, and then Linda followed. And after about 10 minutes, they said to me, where has Bob gone? And I said, oh, he left. And I said, you were being negative and you weren't, you were just weren't being positive. And so he just left. Yeah, we won't be working with you, but I'm sure he just wanted me to let you know. Thank you very much anyway. Yeah, so no, you don't work, because the thing is, it's different if somebody has gone through something and they're depressed, or they've lost a loved one, or they haven't been well. Of course, you don't just go, oh, see you later, you're not being positive. That's ridiculous. You have compassion. You love people. What we want to do is help relieve suffering in the world. But the best way to help relieve suffering in the world is to relieve your own suffering. Your own mind goes down rabbit holes and it takes you places you don't want to go. It is the collective consciousness of this planet, if people understand mysticism and spirituality, that really changes the way you think. You think you're doing all the thinking, but it's people, places, things, habits, parents, teachers, and you can begin to clear. I call it like you have your diamond. This is your soul. This is your spirit. This is a mortal consciousness, and it's clogged. It gets clogged with emotional things that have happened in the past that you can't seem to get away from. And if you find you're being reactionary and you find yourself going down negative rabbit holes, you get in fear of not having enough money or not getting enough money or anything that you're in fear of, you have the power within you to absolutely dissolve all of that stuff. Bob always used to call it jumping over the terror barrier, where you jump into the creative plane of life, where you end up having opportunities that have always been there, but you couldn't see them, or you were too scared. You thought it was too risky, to take a risk. One of my favorite songs Bob and I wrote is called Risk. And we did this whole program called New Paradigms that covered success, persistence. And I would write a song for each topic so that the message would go into your subconscious mind 300 times faster than if you were just listening to just the message. So it really is amazing. And if you think you've done affirmations, you've done visualization, it doesn't work for you, it does work for you. We are going to gift you a lot of my best-selling songs, affirmation songs, along with the Magic of Affirmation Power book and visualization, meditation videos, all for free, because you know this awesome guy, Mr. Biz. So you just go to micheleblood.com/biz, B-I-Z, of course, or Z, as we say it in Australia. And you will be able to, because, we don't have the time today to go into the depths of it, but you keep it simple and spiritual. Kiss. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Keep it simple and spiritual. Your life can change 360 degrees if you make a decision. You make a decision that you are going to change your life. I made a decision to heal my body. It had nothing to do with having affirmation songs all over the world. That wasn't my intention. That just ended up being part of my purpose, all the experience that I'd got. So all the experience that you have, even we were talking about Trevor Rogers that I got, I wrote down before I ever met him, I wrote down, I have an office manager who's loyal, who's honest, who's enthusiastic, who doesn't want to do what I do. He wants to have this job forever, like a really great job. He did not have the technical skills, Ken, but John, my business partner, does. So he taught him. We taught him accounting, how to do websites, and he was just amazing. This kid was amazing. He left school when I was 15. I did too. Education is great, but that doesn't mean that you have the right sort of potential to be an entrepreneur. You have to want to be free and to work with people and to be able to do things. And if you are working for a company, treat that company as if you own that company, and you will rise. And before you know it, you'll either be ahead of that company or you'll be starting your own company, because the power of your mind, everything is possible. And you're not doing it for ego reasons or even for money, even though that is part of what happens. You end up becoming very, very successful. I've got this incredible home that I own and live in up in the mountains. And that's exactly what I wanted. I wrote it down. I visualized it and all of those things. And Rhonda Byrne, by the way, she's bought every single one of my products for years before The Secret came out. And Bob and I used to talk about that. And Bob said to her, why don't you have Michele on? And she said, because she's Australian, she's short and she's blonde. There can't be two of us on The Secret.
Yeah, I could see that.
But the power of the mind, and I know her manager very well, her producer, I mean, and he just said, she really, really kept everyone so enthusiastic the whole time. And that's because she originally read The Science of Being Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And I've got a whole program on that. It's absolutely free as well. So that's a very, very successful, very, very good place to start as well. So you can do anything.
I agree. Well, we've only got about 2 minutes left, but so for those out there, Michele, that have those negative thoughts that creep in, right? You're trying to be positive, you're trying to turn over a new leaf, and you just keep having these negative thoughts pop into your head. What's one thing, and again, we just have maybe 90 seconds here, but one thing that we can do to really start to get rid of those negative thoughts?
Write down what you want, not what you don't want. Focus on what you want as if you've already got it. Listen to the affirmation songs over and over again, and you will come up into a fast vibration very, very quickly. And don't listen to critics. You don't want to be learning piano from someone who can't play piano. Don't ask family and friends unless they're really experienced at what you want to do. You trust your own instinct, meditate, love yourself. Know that you are here for a reason.
I love it. And I think it's been, I keep telling my wife that it's because as I've gotten older, I just have like zero tolerance for negativity. But I really, as you've been talking, it made me think it's probably more so. I mean, maybe that's some of it, but I think some of it also is since I started getting into, so someone turned me on to the science of getting rich by Wall Street Wiles as well. I've listened to that book, I'll tell you, Michele, probably a dozen times because it's a fairly short book. That's another one that I regularly listen to keep up on because it's another fantastic thing written a bazillion years ago, but still so prophetical for today. Gosh, we've run out of time here, Michele, but man, I thank you so much. Again, go out to micheleblood.com and she has some free resources out there for us, micheleblood.com/biz to get some of these fantastic resources that she's mentioned before. Michele, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
Absolutely. Fantastic show. Gosh, I might have to have you on again because I'm coming up with more and more questions as we go through this. But again, go out to micheleblood.com. You can find out more about what she does. Follow her YouTube channel. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And always have a great week. Don't forget, cash flow is king.